Hello and welcome to Ingression, the only series that gives you the best tips, tricks, and information on the game that we all love, and soon you will too, Ingress. I'm your lovable Enlightened instructor, Incredible Hulk, aka Colin Williams. Now, today we're going to cover Ingress 103, Intro to the Ops Menu and Inventory. If you haven't watched Ingress 101 and 102, then you'll want to go do that first, because you need that info to understand the stuff in this episode. But we'll assume you've seen them and open up our episode on Ops. Now, the Ops menu is your best friend and lets you do super important things like access your inventory and use power cubes to replenish your XM bar. To access the Operations menu, you hit that little Ops button in the top corner of the screen. From there, the very first part of the menu is the inventory. By default, all items will be displayed, but if you just want to view a certain type of item, you can hit the inventory menu button on the bottom and not only select what type of item you want to view, but see how many of each type you have. As of now, your inventory can hold a maximum of 100 items on unverified accounts and 2,000 items on verified accounts. And this rule has only changed once since the game was founded, and it likely won't change anytime soon. Which means managing your inventory is very important so you don't hit the inventory cap. Now we'll start off in the inventory covering media, which is actually listed second on the menu by default. Ingress has an in-game news report called the Ingress report that you can obtain as an item from hacking or that you can also watch on their YouTube channel. And there's also other pieces of media like videos about the storyline that will pop up in there as well. Now you can choose to either drop, recycle, or watch the media. The third inventory option is mods. These are the shields and other items that you place on the portal. Now you can't use any of them from the menu, but you can drop them or recycle them for small amounts of XM if you really must. The fourth option is portal keys, which can be very important. Because if you have a key to a portal, by default, the portal will not give you a second key as long as that first key is listed in your inventory if you're just doing a standard hack. So from this menu, you can drop the key on the ground, hack the portal, then pick the first key back up for a total of 2 or more keys, depending on how many you keep dropping. Another reason that the keys in the key menu are handy is because portals have this little quirk. Once you set them up, even if they're not attacked, they won't just stay alive forever. They degrade and lose energy over time until they die on their own. As of this video, they lose about 15% of their energy per day, so they'll die in 7 days. But that number has changed in the past. It's been as low as 10% per day and as high as 33% per day. Now, there will probably be an official announcement by Ingress and Niantic if it does change, so don't worry about every portal just randomly dying out of nowhere. But in order to keep that portal alive, either when someone is attacking or just if it's naturally degrading, you're going to have to recharge it. Now, to know if a portal needs recharging, look at the key. See those 8 bars at top? If there's any of them that aren't completely full, then it can be recharged. If the portal belongs to your faction, just click on the key, then click Recharge. You can either hit Recharge All, or you can select just one resonator and charge that specific resonator. Now, recharging a portal gives you 10 AP for every time you hit the recharge button. And it's the only thing you can do to get points without being by a portal, which makes it very handy to do in your downtime to not only keep them alive, but also to get AP. So if you want to keep a portal alive or link to it, then you're gonna need to have a key to that portal. However, if you don't need the key, then you can recycle it or you can drop it so it doesn't take up valuable inventory space. You know, most agents I know rarely keep more than a couple hundred keys unless they link to a ton of different portals or unless they're planning something special. Now, the fifth section of the inventory list is power cubes. Now, using a power cube restores large amounts of XM in your power bar and lets you do more stuff. A regular power cube will give you 1,000 XM in your bar for each level of the power cube. So a level 1 gives you 1,000 XM, and a level 4 power cube gives you 4,000 XM. But like other items with levels, you can only use a power cube at or below your current level. You can also drop or recycle power cubes. And recycling a power cube can give you the same amount of XM as if you used it. So that's a little nice shortcut to quickly fill your XM bar to 100%. Instead of using 5 of them, you recycle 5 at once and it's a lot quicker. There's also a very rare item called the Lawson Power Cube, and this will actually automatically refill your XM bar for you. The Lawson Power Cube contains between 240% to 600% of your maximum XM bar, depending on your level. And it acts like an extended XM bar by auto-filling your bar when it loses any XM. Now, once a Lawson Cube runs out, it's gone, and it can't fill itself or be refilled. But while you use it, it is very, very handy if you're attacking or recharging, because it lets you keep going without having to go back to your ops menu to use more power cubes. So it works great for time-sensitive tasks like attacking a portal someone is recharging, or during the events known as anomalies that we cover in Anomalies 101. Now, 6th on the list is Resonators. From here, you can see not only how many of each level resonator you have, but you can also recycle resonators. So if you've hit the 2,000 item limit and need to quickly free up room, you can mass recycle unneeded resonators. Recycling resonators also gives you 20 XM for each level of each resonator. So recycling a level 1 resonator gives you 20 XM. A level 5 resonator gives you 100 XM. And recycling 5 level 5 resonators gives you 500 XM. To recycle, just select the level of the resonator, then press recycle. Then you can either press the plus button, or you can also hold it down till it hits the number that you want to recycle. Then just hit confirm. Now, you may notice some text pop up that says exceeds XM take. That just means you won't get the extra XM in your bar for anything recycled past that point, but it will still recycle the item and free up your inventory space. Now, 7th on the list is weapons. From this menu, you can not only recycle and drop, but also use weapons to attack portals like we covered in Ingress 101, including special weapons like the Ada and Jarvis virus. And then lastly, we're actually going to cover what was listed by default first on the list, and that was capsules. Now, capsules are storage devices that can hold items. Up to 100 items can be held in a capsule, but items held in a normal capsule still count against your 2,000 item inventory limit. So what's the use of capsules? Well, with standard capsules, if you need to trade items to another player, you can drop them a capsule filled with items instead of dropping them one at a time. Also, capsules allow you to store items like weapons to make sure you don't accidentally use them when you're on an adrenaline-fueled killing spree, just hulking out and killing everything. And another nice thing is if you put a key inside of a capsule, it is then listed out of the key inventory, and the portal will let you hack another key. This way you can have more than one key for the portal at a time without having to do the drop game. You just keep loading them into a capsule instead. Now, there is another rare and special red capsule called the MUFG capsule. MUFG capsules will randomly replicate items in them. It ends up averaging out to around a 0.66 chance of replicating any given item in it in a time frame of a little less than once a day, every 21 hours. So MUFGs are awesome for making your rare items multiply like two bunnies doing it on top of a calculator while listening to a Ed Sheeran album in 2014. Now, for more info on how MUFGs work, check out our episode that is going to be dedicated to the MUFG capsule. And lastly, there is a special capsule called the Key Capsule. This can only be obtained by purchasing it in the in-game store, and it's called the Key Locker. Now, key lockers can only store keys, and they can't be dropped to other players. But any key put in a key locker does not count against your 2,000 item inventory limit. So they're useful for storing keys that you want to keep long term, maybe because it's from a memory of when you went somewhere and you're like, oh hey, this is the one from the White House, I want to keep this one. Or maybe the ones that you're going to be using for an operation, like, oh, I want to create a bunch of fields, so I'm going to store them all in here. Now, as of now, you can buy a maximum of 5 key capsules, and it costs around $10 to get all 5. But it's well worth the money in the long run for those extra 500 key spaces if you're playing long term. And that is all of the inventory. There are a few items like the key locker that I just mentioned that you actually can't obtain by hacking, but only by spending real world money. Luckily, Ingress items for purchase don't ensure victory, and the game is far, far, far from pay to win. But the things you can purchase, like the key locker, are often pretty handy or they're fun. So the next tab over from the inventory is the store. In order to buy things in the store, you'll need to exchange real-world cash for in-game chaotic matter units, or CMU. The store contains items like the fracker. Now, a fracker doubles the normal amount of items you get from any hack or glyph hack. Now, a fracker can be added to any portal. It doubles the hacks for any player hacking the portal and cannot be knocked off the portal by attacks. But a fracker will auto self-destruct after 10 minutes, and when it does, it'll do some damage to the portal. So it doesn't last forever, but while it lasts, everyone can have a little fracking party. Now, the store also contains items like beacons. So beacons are a good way to mark a non-secret meetup location with other players, because they'll appear not only above the portal in-game as a little signifier of, hey, come here, but they'll also show up publicly on the online intel map. Now, you can completely play Ingress without spending a dime on in-game items and not miss a single bit of the game or experience. But after you've been playing a while, you might want to check out the store and see if you can make use of any of the items in there. Now, the next tab over from there is Agents, which will give you a full breakdown of all your stats as an agent and shows you all the badges you've earned. And we'll cover the stats, badges, and the Intel tab in depth in Ingress 104. So head on over to Ingress 104 next, and make sure to click that subscribe button to make sure that you're always getting updated when we end up getting a new video out, so you always have the latest videos and tips. And also, feel free to add me on Google+, or really anywhere else that you can find me. Otherwise, in the meantime, explore the playlist and learn more after you've checked out the rest of the 100 series. And as always, make sure to go out there, play, destroy, deploy, and enjoy.